going on.
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family. Smoochie.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Mike Babcock with my guy, as always, Mojo, Butati Mojo. We're going to start once again with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Of course, the world learned yesterday that the famous couple was engaged, Mojo, and now we are learning more about that engagement, courtesy of Papa Kelce, of Travis Kelce's dad, Ed. There he is right there, Mojo. Now, look, we had a rough idea of when this thing happened, Mojo. We could look at Travis's haircut and compare it to the haircut in the engagement photos, but we weren't sure exactly when. You and I being hair experts too, Mojo. So we had a rough estimate of when this thing went down. But again, now thanks to Ed Kelce, we do know a little bit more. So Ed Kelce joined a TV show in Australia this week, and well, he's spilling a little bit of tea, Mojo. Take a look.
How did you find out about it all?
Well, it was a couple weeks ago that Travis got it done after a few weeks of prodding from myself and from Scott Swift. He was going to do it, but wanted to find the perfect, the perfect way to ask her and to make it special. And we kept trying to tell him, when you do it, that's what makes it special. So don't fret on where, or just get it done.
So it sounds, Mojo, like not just Ed Kelce, but also Taylor's father, Scott, was also talking to Travis Kelce about this, which says to me that Travis had talked to Taylor's parents. Perhaps he asked for permission,
Nice.
right? And a very gentlemanly thing for him to do, in my opinion. And ultimately, he ends up, Mojo, we've learned a little bit more even than what Ed revealed there. He ends up doing it in the backyard of his house in Missouri, Mojo. So get this. Taylor and Travis, about 2 weeks ago, were set to go to dinner. Unclear exactly where they were heading. Before they go to dinner, Mojo, Travis says to Taylor, hey, let's go in the backyard and let's have a glass of wine. They head out to the backyard, Mojo, and that's when we apparently get this scene here. He drops down on one knee. He pops the question. Of course, Taylor says yes. And next thing you know, we've got a wedding to plan. So that's how it happened, Mojo. 2 weeks ago, let's go have a glass of wine, and then will you marry me?
What the hell? That was someone's backyard, that photo?
Travis's backyard.
What? That is great. I thought for sure this was at like a park,
Right.
some sort of venue. This is crazy. I mean, there's your straight out of a fairy tale, fairy book,
Yeah.
like however the hell her songs go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know they're very popular though, so I'll give her that. That is crazy. Also, the timeline now makes sense.
Yeah.
I was under the impression this just happened right as, football season's
Right.
about to kick off. I mean, it's a little better that this happened a little bit ago. Enjoy that last little bit here before things really get crazy. Love that both dads were pressing Trav.
Yeah.
I guess you don't even necessarily have to ask your dad for approval if he's already trying to talk you into it in the first place. So there's that. But I'm glad that they had that rapport and that Pops co-signed the marriage. I mean, hey, I flew to Connecticut and I had to ask Grace's Pops about, having her hand in marriage. I mean, granted, I didn't really care what Andrew Clark had to say. I was going to ask either way, but it's still the gesture that counts, all right? You got to pay your respects, pay homage there, Babcock. So I love that Trav did this thing the right way. I mean, this is great, man. Crazy still, though, that this is somebody's backyard. That ring is crazy, too. I know all those Swifties are out there were wondering what Taylor Swift's ring was going to look like when she actually got one. And here all your questions are answered. No idea how many carats that is. It's a lot. I don't really care either. It's about the entire size of that portion of her finger. So great taste. Everyone's happy. And good, because now it's time to get to work.
Yeah, now I guess they got a wedding to plan, Mojo. I'll tell you this real quick because you mentioned the ring. We do know that the jeweler that designed the ring was a person by the name of Kindred Lubeck. And Mojo, he was actually involved. Travis was involved in the designing of the ring. He clearly knew what Taylor wanted, and he got together with Kindred, and they came up with that ring. I had never heard of this cut before, Mojo. Maybe you have. It's an old mine brilliant cut diamond. Had never heard of it before. It's big, it's expensive, and Mojo, you know what's also expensive? Those flowers. I would love to know what that arrangement cost, because I'm guessing Travis doesn't always have the backyard looking like that with all the flowers. I would love to know how much those arrangements cost. I'll
tell you right now, Babcock, the price was $0, because when you're Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, people will give you things for free so that they're talked about right now on shows like this. So that was free. I will say, I'm a little surprised there was a diamond involved in the ring. For this couple, I thought it would be like a space stone, something carved out of the moon or Jupiter or something like that. I mean, that's the kind of couple we're talking about here. But, diamond still works, I guess.
Up next, some positive news following that vicious wrestling attack last weekend. An update on the medical status of Psycho Stu from the wrestler who stopped Raja Jackson. It's coming your way next on TMZ Sports. Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, it's been a couple of days now since that brutal attack at the wrestling event in Los Angeles, a Saturday night, of course, where Psycho Stuart Smith, government name, was hospitalized, Mojo. Now, a lot of people obviously very curious about Stu's status, his health. How is he doing after that brutal beating where he was not just slammed on his head, but then punched something like 22, 23 times by an MMA fighter, Mojo? Well, we are speaking with Mojo, and we actually did this a little bit earlier. A guy by the name of Douglas Malo. Douglas is a wrestler. He is actually not the first guy who intervenes here, Mojo, but he is the guy who really was able to, it's not that guy there. He's the second guy who comes in, Mojo, who was really able to rip Raja off. There he is. There is Douglas, and he is the one who stopped that attack, Mojo. I don't know what might have happened if he was not there. Anyway, we had an opportunity to speak with Douglas when we asked him about Psycho Stu's health. Some good news. Take a look.
He remembers mostly what happened during the early parts of the day. He's talking a little bit. He's alert. He's still got some injuries that are very serious. Not like, life-threatening serious, but like, facial injuries, stuff like that. I'm worried about when he's mobile around and, any injury to the head can creep in. Like, I've had head injuries that I thought were good, and a month later I'm like, whoa, like, this is awkward. So I'm just worried. Every show, Stu's been there. He's been super kind to me, always helped me out, always had my back, always making sure I was okay. He's just a nice guy, but he's very shy, mild-mannered. He's not, some big, aggressive bully, he's just a hard worker. He's like a man's man. He shows up, goes to work. He's not begging for attention. He's not doing crazy stuff. I couldn't say enough nice things about Stu.
There it is, Mojo. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that he may not be alive if it were not for Douglas intervening there, Mojo. But great news to hear that he's awake and that he's actually able to speak some, Mojo. I think you feel real hopeful for his future then and his recovery. But, gosh, scary.
Yeah, Douglas can't say enough things about Stu right now. I think I can't say enough good things about Douglas right now either. You said it, Babcock. If you're asking me, Stu might literally not be alive right now if it wasn't for Douglas sliding in and doing what he did. There's a lot of other people in that ring that didn't do a lot. Douglas was the one that slid in and was a difference maker. Keep in mind, too, I don't know if Douglas has any MMA training or a background of any kind, but, he was able to manhandle Jackson pretty well here. That dude is a trained MMA fighter.
Right. Mojo, I don't think he does. I think he just happens to be, obviously he's a big and he's a strong guy, but I don't think he's classically trained in mixed martial arts or anything.
Maybe he just cared enough, man.
Yeah.
It's like seeing a family member there, on the edge of their life, and you go in there and you find that superhuman strength. But I mean, he bodied Jackson up pretty good. And when I say that, he wasn't throwing blows. He wasn't trying to take him out. He wasn't trying to inflict any pain whatsoever. He was just trying to restrain him. Just again, shout outs to Douglas for having the wherewithal for all of this. I mean, we're talking about an independent show here, Babcock. None of these guys are getting rich off of this stuff. I mean, I can talk about this firsthand. I mean, most of these guys are probably making $50, $100.
Wow.
$200. I mean, definitely not enough to cover anybody's medical bills in a situation for this. I mean, they do this for two reasons. They do this, one, because they love this. And they do it, two, maybe for the hopes of getting a call from the big companies, from WWE, from AEW, and being able to live out a dream. I mean, for Stu, he's a U.S. veteran. He has PTSD. He does this as an escape for some of the trauma that he has had inflicted upon him in his life in the military. Again, thank you for all that you've done for this country, Stu. Thank you for your service for sure. But I mean, that's what makes this entire situation so egregious, so disgusting. But it also is what makes Douglas's efforts that important. So, shout outs to him, shout outs to Stu, shout outs to everyone involved here. And I'll say it again, man, I hope Jackson goes down for this one in a big way.
Yeah, police still investigating, Mojo. We don't have any clarification on arrests or charges, any of that yet. I'm with you. I think he is going to have to pay a price here. Also, to your point, Mojo, about these guys not getting rich. I mean, if you notice, as we were speaking with Douglas, he was literally in the cab of an 18-wheeler. He is working a job as a truck driver, trying to obviously, provide for his family. So that's the 9 to 5. You saw also the cut on his face, and you could see the bandage there. I mean, he did take some damage in the scuffle with Raja, so he did take some hits, and he's got some bumps and bruises. Thankfully, nothing so serious to where he's laid up in the hospital. There's a lot more with him, Mojo. If you're interested in hearing about Douglas's take, he also reacts to Mark Henry, to his take on, obviously, the interview we did with the WWE Hall of Famer earlier in the week. And he also gives his insight as to what happened earlier in the show, Mojo, with the beer can between Stewart and Raja. So there's a bunch of other compelling details with Douglas. Go to the TMZ Sports website if you're interested in that. And obviously, I think most importantly here, we wish Stewart a continued recovery. If Colin Kaepernick really wants to play in the NFL, there's a league willing to let the former NFL quarterback show off his skills. We'll hear from UFL executive Doug Whaley when TMZ Sports returns right after this.
Is Cap still training? How is he?
All day, every day, baby. All day, every day.
I love that. So
Nothing's changed.
Is he still wanting to play?
Can I get a photo?
Of course he is. It's all up to the teams if they'll let him.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mike and Mojo. Mojo, of course, that was Colin Kaepernick's wife. She talked to us about that a couple of weeks ago, Mojo. Not going to say partner. Colin Kaepernick's wife, Mojo. Talking about, look, Colin still wants to play football. He has made this clear for years, Mojo, right? We have said it time and time again that we have been told that Colin continues to train weekly and that he still feels like he can quarterback an NFL franchise. Well, the NFL call hasn't come, Mojo, but could he possibly prove in another league that he is still a really talented football player that can help an NFL franchise? That's the question that we posed to a guy named Doug Whaley. If that name sounds familiar, Mojo, it's probably because Doug Whaley was a longtime executive in the NFL. You see him right there. Some of his resume was with the Steelers for a decade. And then he goes and was actually the general manager for a couple seasons in Buffalo, GM of the Buffalo Bills. Now, Mojo, Doug Whaley is the senior vice president of player personnel for the UFL. The UFL is, look, it's a league full of a lot of college football players and a lot of guys, Mojo, who think that they could make it in the NFL. They just need an opportunity. We spoke with Doug Whaley, Mojo, and we asked him, hey, first of all, Doug, has Colin ever reached out and expressed interest in playing in the UFL? And if not, is there a possibility that you would have interest in him playing for your league? Here's Doug Whaley.
he hasn't reached out to us. So it was one of those things where we've seen that, and he knows we're here. So if he really wants it, well, we would listen. It cost us nothing to listen.
That's the biggest opportunity for him to put some game tape together to show that I do still have this.
Right. So that's when you have to really ask him, does he want to play, or does he just say he wants to play? Because there are avenues for him, not only with us, but CFL. There's other avenues that if he wanted to put recent game tape out there, he could have a chance to do.
Dang, Babcock, that sounded like a call out if you ask me. Almost like he's challenging him, daring him. I would disagree, though. There's a big difference between playing in the NFL and everywhere else, right? I mean, if you want to play football, yes, I agree. There's other leagues you can go to. The UFL is a fantastic league. They have a lot of talent there. I mean, look at how many UFL players get signed to the NFL every single season. Tons of them, not to bury the CFL. Not many players get signed to the NFL out of Canada every year. It's a very, very small list. But for the UFL, it's like the floodgates are open. Not only that, as we all know too, the NFL has actually adopted some of the rules from the UFL, hence the kickoff rule. That's not the only one. So there is a great bridge open between these places. And I agree, if Colin Kaepernick wants to get back to the NFL, I do think this is the route that he needs to go to. It is clear at this point, no NFL team is going to sign Colin Kaepernick. Doesn't matter what kind of shape he's been in. He is too far removed at this point. So what do? You go to the next league, the number 2, that is the UFL. You show out, you ball out. Maybe you put together and quiet down some of that background chatter that all these teams definitely don't want to deal with from playing a season, and then you come back. So if he wants to make it to the NFL, you're not going to go there straight away at this point. You got to go to the UFL first. So there's that.
I agree, Mojo. Just some statistics out there and some information. Colin Kaepernick will turn 38 years old in about a month and a half, and he last played an NFL game in the 2016 season, 2017 year, Mojo. So we're going on about 8 years since he last played in an NFL game, and I could not agree with you more, Mojo. If he has any hope of playing football in the NFL again, he's going to have to show that he can do it somewhere else first, Mojo. I just don't think that that's the move that Colin's going to make. I think, and I fear for his fans, that we have seen the last of Colin Kaepernick on a football field, at least as a player. You will never believe the trademark that Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has applied for. I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but she is. Mojo, let's move on to 73-year-old Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, the gold digger, Mojo.
Oh!
Hey, hear me out here. I say it in an endearing way, Mojo. Jordan Hudson, she is a businesswoman. She is a smart businesswoman, Mojo, because Jordan Hudson, her company, Mojo, a company by the name of TCE Rights Management, has applied for a trademark of the word gold digger, Mojo, in addition to a couple of other phrases as well. Mojo, we have been told that she is looking to get this phrase trademarked, and what she ultimately wants to do is sort of capitalize some of the negative things that have been said about her out there on social media, in some places in the media, Mojo, right? She's heard the comments. Obviously, she's a lot younger than Bill is, but what she's trying to do is now take what has been used in a negative connotation and turn it into a positive. The plan is here, Mojo, assuming that she gets the trademark approved, to sell some sort of jewelry, of trinkets, things like that, Mojo. And again, she is going to try and capitalize and make some money for herself based off of the negative things that people have said about her, which I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea. I can't give her enough credit here.
Babcock, is all I gotta say. I mean, you say gold digger in a, what'd you say, in a loving way?
Yeah, in a loving way. Yeah.
You might be the only one, Babcock. I think a lot of people would call her that. not in a positive way, but I gotta say, you're making lemonade here, right? If this is going to be the narrative, granted, you know what was coming when you got into a high-profile relationship like this. None of this is a surprise. This is going exactly how you expected it to go. Matter of fact, it is the best case that you could have expected because everyone's still talking about this, right? She's leaned into it heavy, so I gotta say, it's not only Bill. It's football season now. Bill's going to be busy. He's got his hands tied. I mean, let's not forget how Bill Belichick gets during football season. But, making lemonade here for Jordan. Conceptually, this is a great idea. I am curious to see what sales look like. Is this a relationship that people love to hate or do just hate it and they're not going to support it or spend their money on it, in which case this thing goes belly up and goes nowhere.
In addition to the gold digger phrase, Jordan Hudson has also applied for a couple other phrases, including Bellastrator, Chapel Bill, No Days Off, Trail of Salty Tears, and the Belichick Way, Mojo. So I like those, but I'm really, really hoping, badly hoping that she gets gold digger approved.
That's a hell of a list, Babcock. I think we might have to rank them on tomorrow's show.
I know. I wish we had more time, Mojo. We will obviously continue to follow this. We will let you know if it does get approved by the government. So stay tuned on that. And I will buy some gold digger jewelry if it comes to fruition. Until then, we're out of time, Mojo. We got a big show planned tomorrow, though, Mojo. It's going to be great.
I will not be buying any gold digger jewelry. I might be buying Trail of Tears jewelry or merch, though. That one's not bad. Either way, we'll see you tomorrow where it'll be the best show since today.
I'm a lawyer.